1. The way that can be shown is not the eternal way. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The source of the heavens and the earth is nameless. Naming is the mother of the 10,000 things. Willingly we find the mystery. Willfully we find the forms. The forms and the mystery are the same, and yet their names are different. Together they're called the profound, the mystery within the mystery, the gateway to salvation. Two. As soon as all agree that good is good, evil has arisen. When all agree on what is beautiful, the ugly has appeared. What is and what is not are eternal companions. The difficult and the simple define each other. The long and the short are measured by the same rule. The high and the low cannot be distinguished apart. Noise and melody simultaneously resound. The past and the future chase each other. The wise shun effort. They teach without words, participate in all things, and overlook nothing. They produce without possessing, act without expectation, and succeed without accepting credit. Because they accept no credit, they are universally acclaimed. Three. To end strife, ignore the talented. To find safety, discard all valuables. To gain serenity, give up ambition. The wise value emptiness for minds, fullness for bellies, peace for hearts, and strength for bones. They encourage ignorance, so the shrewd will be impotent. They act without action, so that nothing will be left undone. Number 4. The way is best perceived as an empty bowl within whose void there is room for everything. How vast it is, as if the 10,000 things poured forth from its depths. Its work is in blunting the pointed, simplifying the tangled, dimming the brilliant, and unifying everything. How deep it is. Doubt it at your peril. I do not know whose child it is. It has been as it is since before the emergence of God. 5. The heavens and the earth are cruel. They treat the 10,000 things as straw dogs, created to be destroyed. The wise are cruel. They treat the 100 families as straw dogs, destined to be destroyed. The way is like a bellows, empty and inexhaustible. Move it and even more comes out. Too many words are exhausting. It is better far to hold to the center. Six. The spirit of the valley is undying. It is called the mysterious woman. Within the spirit of the valley lies all creation. Eternal, infinite, obvious. Its use requires no training. 7. The heavens are eternal and the earth eons old. They are useful to everything and yet somehow endure. It is because they are useful to everything that they can endure. The wise think of themselves last and always manage to succeed. They place themselves apart and yet somehow remain apart. It is because they remain always selfless that they can succeed. 8. All that's best can be seen to be like water. Water benefits everything and yet exerts no effort. Water finds the lowest places, shunned by everyone, and in this, water is closest to the way. In choosing a home, value its site. In choosing a faith, value its depth. In choosing friends, value warmth. In choosing words, value sincerity. In choosing leaders, value evolution. In choosing a vocation, value your skills. In choosing action, value timing. Success will follow selflessness. Number 9. Take somewhat less than you can hold. Hold the bow somewhat less than your strength permits. A home filled with riches awaits burglary. A life filled with honor awaits disgrace. When work is done, retire. That is the way. 15. The ancients were subtle, mysterious, profound, penetrating. The depths of their understanding is unfathomable. Because they are beyond our grasp, all we can do is describe their appearance. Alert, as though sensing danger from every side. Courteous, as house guests. Yielding, as ice about to melt. Simple, like unhewn blocks of wood. Receptive, like valleys. Opaque, like muddy pools. Who can wait quietly while the mud settles? Who can remain still until the moment for action? Observers of the way do not seek fulfillment. Not seeking fulfillment, they are not swayed by desire for change. Number 17. When the empire is governed properly, few know who reigns. Next best is the ruler who is loved and honored, then the despot who is feared, and finally the tyrant reviled. Govern quietly, and the people will realize that they are responsible for their own well-being. Number 20. The 100 families are so merry, as though enjoying a great festival. As if climbing great park towers in a carefree spring afternoon. Only I remain still, tentative, as an infant who has yet to learn to smile. Aimless I am, as one without a home. The 100 families have an abundance, and I have been forgotten. I have the heart of a fool, confused, bemuddled. Others are alert while I am drowsy. Others are bright while I am dull and subdued. Adrift like the ocean waves or the restless winds, I am aimless. The 100 families seem directed with goals, and yet I am as a beggar. I alone am different from the 100 families. I am nurtured by the mother. 25. Something there was formed out of chaos, complete. Born before the heavens and the earth, quiet and still, pure and deep, standing alone and forever constant, pervading every place and everything. Mothering all beneath heaven, I call it the way. And were I to give it a name, it would be magnificence. "38. The most admirable do not regard themselves as admirable, and they are the most admired for just this reason. The least admirable never forget their admirable qualities, which is precisely why they are least admired. The most admirable take no action and have no reason for behaving this way. The The least admirable act constantly and have countless reasons for their behavior. The best people act, but they have no reason for their actions. The most self-righteous act and have many reasons for their actions. The most self-important act and, when their actions are ignored, enforce their will. What can we learn from this? When the great way is lost, we rely on dur. When dur is lost, we rely on goodness. When goodness is lost, we rely on righteousness. When righteousness is lost, we rely upon mandates. As for those who are self-important, they have about them the veneer of trustworthiness and sincerity, and yet from them springs only the substance of chaos. As for those who see the future, they have about them the flower of the great way, and yet from them springs only the fruit of stupidity. From this, the wise learn to dwell in the substance and not in the veneer, to dwell in the fruit and not in the flower. They ignore the one and embrace the other. (39) From ancient times, these have attained oneness. The earth attained oneness and became calm. God attained oneness and became omnipotent. Valleys attained oneness and became full. The 10,000 things attained oneness and became fertile. Rulers attained oneness and gained followers. All are what they are by virtue of having oneness. Were the earth not calm, it would splinter. Were God not omnipotent, all would perish. Were valleys not full, they would dry up. Were the 10,000 things not fertile, they would die out. Were rulers to have no followers, they would fall. The wise know that humility is the root of greatness, that the low is the foundation of the high. The greatest leaders call themselves alone, lonely, and not valued. Is this not recognition of humility as the root of greatness? The highest in esteem are without esteem. They neither stand out like jade nor fit in like stone. 41. When the wisest learn of the way, they urgently pursue its lessons. When most hear of the way, they heed it at times and ignore it at others. When fools learn of the way, they roar with laughter. If it did not cause laughter, it could not be the way. 46. Wherever the way is cherished, horses pull plows and their dung fertilizes crops. Wherever the way is abandoned, horses pull cannons and their dung messes streets. There is no greater curse than not knowing enough. There is no greater sin than greed. Those who know they have enough surely have plenty. Number 50. Whatever does not nurture life invites death. A third nurture life, a third invite death, a third straddle the line. Why? Because they go at life too aggressively. It is said that those who know how to nurture life meet no tigers or bulls on their road, nor do they need armor or weapons in their battles. Bulls find in them nowhere to gouge, tigers find nothing to claw, and weapons find no place to pierce. How can this be? Because for them, there is no room for death. 51. The way gives them life, Dern nurtures them, shaping them according to their makeup, perfecting them according to their surroundings. Therefore, the 10,000 things revere the way and honor Dern. No edict requires reverence of the way. Nothing mandates honoring Dur. These have simply always been so. And whether the way is revered and Dur honored, The way will give them life, and Dur will nurture them, make them grow, foster them, protect them, and provide for them. As for you, it is well and good to use, but do so without taking possession. It is well and good to act, but do so without expectation. This is called quiet virtue. 52. That which was the beginning of all under heaven may be spoken of as the mother of the 10,000 things. Those who understand the mother thereby know the children. They will hold all the tighter to the mother and, to the end of their days, remain free from harm. Close tight the passages, shut the doors, and to the end of your days your strength shall not fail. Open up the passages, multiply your concerns, and to the end of your days you shall know no ease. Seeing the small is called insight. Knowing the power of weakness is called strength. Together these are called the always so. Were I to have the tiniest grain of sense, I would wish only to walk in the great way, and my only fear would be of straying from it. For the great way is even and direct, and yet so many find the byways alluring. The great seats of power are orderly and well maintained, while the fields are full of weeds and the granaries empty. The powerful wear magnificent clothing, wield sharp swords, fill themselves with rich food and heady drink, and amass more in wealth and treasure than they can ever use. This is called criminal. It is not what comes of walking in the way. 54. What is well planted is not uprooted. What is firmly embraced is not lost. The ancient rites will be honored by generations yet unborn. People who cultivate Dur become genuine. Families which cultivate Dur prosper. Communities which cultivate Dur grow strong. Nations which cultivate Dur flourish. Dur, cultivated throughout the world, will become universal. Judge a person by standards appropriate for people. Judge a family by standards appropriate for families. Judge a community by standards appropriate for communities. Judge a nation by standards appropriate for nations. Judge the world by standards appropriate for the world. How do I know about the world? By learning what is within me. 55. To be steeped in Dur is to be like an infant. Wasps and snakes do not bite. Ferocious creatures do not attack. Birds of prey do not pounce. Infants' bones are tender and their tissues soft, and yet their grip is firm. Infants know nothing of the union of the male and the female, and yet their organs stir. Such is the perfection of their vitality. Infants cry all day without getting hoarse. Such is the perfection of their harmony. To know harmony is to know the unchanging. To know the unchanging is to have insight. To control life is to bring illness. To control breath is to bring strain. To control growth is to bring decay. This is all against the way, and whatever is against the way soon perishes. 56. Those who do know don't speak. Those who speak don't know. Closing tight the passages and shutting the door. Blunting the sharpness and untangling the knots. Softening the glare and letting wheels move along old ruts. This is known as mysterious sameness. It cannot be known through desire, nor forgotten by detachment. It cannot be gained by skill, nor coerced with threat. It cannot be cajoled with flattery, nor dismissed through slander. Thus, it is the most reliable thing in the world. '57. Rule the people with candor, battle them with deceit. Win everything by doing nothing. How do I know this is so? Inward light. Beneath heaven, with mandates and taboos, the people become poor. With sharp weapons, they become disordered. With knowledge, they become cunning. With laws, they become criminals. So the wise leaders say, I do nothing, and the people lead themselves. I love stillness, and the people correct themselves. I do no work, and the people enrich themselves. I have no desire, and the people move themselves toward the unhewn log. 58. When the ruler is incompetent, the people thrive. When the ruler is capable, the people pay dearly. Good fortune presupposes disaster. Disaster hides behind good fortune. What is the end of it all? It never ceases. Sincerity becomes deceit. Well-being becomes a nightmare. The wise are severe without cutting, precise without injuring, direct without straining, brilliant without blinding. Number 60. Rule the people as you might cook small fish. When the great way is understood, evil has little power, and what power evil retains has no harmful effect. But it is not only evil's power which is nullified, the wise also have no harmful effect. Since these each have no harmful effect, their powers mingle and return to the source. 64. That which is not yet stirred is most easily restrained. That which is not yet begun is most easily prevented. The brittle is easiest to shatter. The weightless is easiest to scatter. Prevent trouble before it begins. Order things before there is chaos. A tree whose girth exceeds your arm's embrace begins as the smallest seedling. A terrace whose height exceeds 100 feet begins as an armful of dirt. A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath your feet. The way to ruin something is to act on it. The way to lose something is to clutch it. The wise act on nothing, and therefore nothing is ruined. They clutch nothing, and therefore nothing is lost. The greatest risk is nearest the point of completion. Care at the end protects the greatest investment. The wise desire only to have no desires. They value only those things which have no value. They have learned only the uselessness of learning. They return always to empty places. Though they might be of great help to all things, their wisdom leads them to great caution, and they refuse to meddle. For the wise, the greatest action is no action at all. '70. My words are straightforward and easy to understand. My teachings are direct and easy to practice. Still, no one, it seems, understands my words, for no one I have found practices my teachings. My words have an ancient heritage, and my teachings have strong precedent, but these have been forgotten so that now I am ignored. Still, just by being ignored, I become very valuable. For the wise wear crude clothing to hide precious jewels. 71. Understanding that knowledge is useless is wisdom. The failure to understand that knowledge is useless is sickness. The antidote for sickness is being sick of sickness. The wise are not sick precisely because this is the source of their wisdom. 72. When all feel safe from disaster, disaster is near. The people must be allowed broad latitude, must be given great trust. Without trust, they will soon become discontented. The wise know themselves but do not make a show of themselves. They cherish themselves but do not flatter themselves. They reject the latter but embrace the former. '73. The reward for bravery in waging battle is death. The reward for bravery in avoiding battle is life. On the one hand, there is profit, on the other hand, loss. What heaven hates cannot be guessed. The way of heaven is to be victorious without contention, to be responsive in silence, to be present without being called, to be spontaneous while being prepared. Heaven's net is broad and vast. Although its mesh is coarse, nothing slips through. 74. When none fear punishment, of what use are threats? When punishment is feared by all, who will risk it? For executing judgments, it's best to await the final judge. Executing your own judgment is like sawing your own wood. For sawing wood, it's best to hire a master carpenter. Of those who saw their own wood, few escape with all their fingers. 75. The source of the people's hunger is their ruler's appetite. The source of the people's discontent is their ruler's distrust. The source of the people's defiance is their ruler's cowardice. Hungry people put little value on their lives. 76. At birth, the child is supple and soft. At death, the corpse is stiff and rigid. So too it is with the 10,000 things. Living plants are tender and pliant. Hewn, they grow brittle and dry. Know then that the rigid is the companion of death, the flexible is the companion of life. Reliance upon strength is the recipe for defeat. The straightest oak is the most inviting to the gales. The place of great strength is below. The place of great tenderness is above. 77. The way of heaven is like the flexing of a bow. The high is lowered, the low is raised. Whatever is too long is shortened, whatever is too short is lengthened. The way of the people is otherwise. Whatever is scarce is diminished, whatever is abundant is increased. Who that you know who has a surplus offers it to those who do not have enough? Clearly only those who know the great way. From this, the wise learn to produce without possessing and succeed without taking credit. They have no need to display their excellence. 78. Nothing under heaven can be compared to water for its weak and yielding nature, and yet, in attacking the hard and the strong, nothing surpasses it. Nothing else acts this way. In overcoming the strong, nothing is as good as the weak. In overcoming the hard, nothing is as good as the yielding. Although everyone knows this, no one acts this way. The wise have a saying. Who but the greatest rulers accept responsibility for disgrace? Who but the greatest rulers accept responsibility for calamity? Wisdom often seems simple. 79. When a great dispute is settled, bitterness invariably remains. Of what possible value is bitterness? Knowing this, the wise pay their obligations, but excuse what they are owed by others. The virtuous keep their debts in mind, the righteous keep their claims in mind. The great way plays no favorites. It is always on the side of virtue. '81. Sincere words need not be eloquent. Eloquent words need not be sincere. Good people are not argumentative. Argumentative people are no good. Those who know need not be learned. Those who are learned need not know. The wise do not hoard. The more they do for others, the more they gain for themselves. The more they give to others, the more they have for themselves. The way of nature is to serve without obstructing. The way of the wise is to act without effort.